My dear friends all over the world, welcome back again. This is Mr. Osama with the English teacher and the self-improvement coach. My dear friends, today in our episode number 10, which is the last episode of our series, Help Me Improve My Speaking Skill. Today, actually, I'm not going to give you any new tips because we're going just to remind you of the 9 tips we have discussed and learned together recently. Hopefully you can put them into practice. Hopefully you can apply them to your day-to-day experiences so that you can help yourself by yourself and teach yourself by yourself. Then you don't have to attend any online courses. You don't have to ask any teachers or experts about the best ways or the best methodologies that you have to follow through to master the English skills, particularly the speaking skill. So today our episode's title is The Formula of Improving Your Speaking Skill. Tip number 1, PP recipe. PP recipe stands for Passion plus Practice Recipe. Passion, if you remember, the criterion of being passionate about something is when you do it for a very long time without feeling sick and tired. Like little kids when they play video games. This is the best example. You know that they spend very long hours on playing video games and they don't feel exhausted. They feel excited. If you have that feeling, you are super lucky because you will keep learning until the last breath you take. The big question some students ask, teacher, do you think that passion is in our genes? Do you think that we are born with that passion? The answer is no. The more you practice, the more you increase that passion. And then after that, over time, you can realize that you can't imagine your life without learning that language, without doing that experiment, without doing that thing you are so passionate about. So you have just to practice all the time so that you can empower and strengthen that passion. Number 2, listen more than you talk at first, because I know that your input is not that much. So you have to increase and augment your input by listening to native speakers or to those people whose English is pretty good. Then after that, when you increase your input, you have enough vocabulary, enough words, enough expressions, enough sentences, enough idioms to express when you talk to others. Number 3, stop that destructive, ugly, devastating habit called translation. If you want to learn English, try to use its expressions, its idioms, its structures, its words. And the best way ever is using simple English words. Don't use Portuguese, Japanese, Chinese, or Arabic when you want to learn English. Because this way you jeopardize, you destroy, you devastate, you spoil the beauty and the structure of the language. Number 4, break it down into small pieces. I know that when you just take a look at the whole picture of the English language and its skills, you feel extremely confused and you can't comprehend all of these details all at once. So please remember to break anything you want to learn into small pieces and focus on the 1 mile strategy so that you can acquire anything you want to learn. Number 5, focus on the target rather than how much time you need to hit it. Now, I know that this is the cliche most of teachers hear all the time. How much time do I need to learn English? Do I need 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? Actually, you are the only one who can decide that. Don't worry about the time you have to spend on learning English. Just focus on the target. My target is to master the 4 skills of English. And you know that when you have that passion, surely you don't worry about the time you spend on it because you are improving. Because the most important thing is the progress, the continuity. Number 6, decide not to be perfect. Decide not to be perfect. Decide not to be perfect. Because you know that if you don't want to make mistakes, you can't learn. And making mistakes is a very clear sign that you are improving. So decide not to be perfect. Decide not to be perfect. Don't be afraid to make mistakes because you are improving and you are doing a great job. Number 7, teach me how to fish. Don't teach me how to be like a robot. Teach me how to fish. Teach me how to think, how to understand, how to analyze. Because I told you that the best teacher, and I want you just to teach yourself this way all the time. If I want to learn, I don't want just to keep stuffing my mind with a lot of details, a lot of grammar rules, and then after that I forget them all. I want you to be a very reliable and trustworthy teacher by teaching yourself how to think critically and how to be creative when you want to learn English. Here we have proactivity, how to be proactive. If you still remember talking Tom, if you feel that you don't have that confidence to face people, no problem, just you can buy that time if you remember it, and then you can record yourself and listen to your pronunciations. And remember to listen and make sure that your pronunciations are correct before you start recording yourself. Then after that, we have understand your brain language using what? Using the mind map, which is the best way ever to remember each piece of information you want to learn. Why? Because you have a lot of connections, a lot of relations, a lot of classifications, as you see here on the board. My dear friends, these 9 tips or these 9 methods can be learned and acquired perfectly as much as possible if you decide to remember how to be an excellent learner. And remember, my dear friends all over the world, that nothing is impossible and impossible is nothing. You can master this skill and you can learn anything you want to learn, and you can master any skills you want to master if you just have that great passion, that unshakable confidence, and that non-stop practice. Until I see you again with another new series, I wish you all kinds of inner peace, love, passion, positivity, and ecstasy. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
I feel so good. I feel so close to you. Oh, oh, oh.